Roll. Here.
Mr. Olson,
Here.
Mr. Walker, Mr. Claude, Mr. Urquins,
Here.
Okay, are there any changes or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll move forward. Chairman's remarks. Since we do have a virtual attendee and people will be watching, I just wanted to remind everybody to speak clearly into your microphone as it enhances the recording. With that, I move on to entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes for the work session dated September 23rd.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval of the minutes for the regular meeting dated September 23rd?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I second, but I have a question for Pam. Did you make those changes?
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Go ahead and send these around. I will turn it over to Pat for the monthly activity and financial report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Just a couple of housekeeping things or updates that I wasn't able to include in the board packet, but kudos to our culinary team. We had 2 health inspections yesterday of our kitchens. And once again, they got 100%. There were no infractions. So given how busy we are and how meticulous the culinary team really does try to keep the kitchens, I'm really proud of them. I'm not surprised by the health department's inspection findings, but again, it's always good to get their recognition as well. So I appreciate the efforts of our culinary team. As of the end of September, again, these are some updated reports I just got. Or just received. We had 31 inquiries, short-term inquiries in the month of September. We have 3 dates put on hold as a result and 3 booked events in addition to that. So far in October, we've had 7 inquiries. We've had a little bit of a slowdown again with the ebb and flow of the Delta variant and the various impacts that it has. Some groups are still looking to meet and want to meet. Various levels of protocols have been in place. I think I mentioned that our team for customer event, well, in both buildings, we established a mask requirement among the staff about 3 weeks ago, just to avoid confusion on behalf of the staff. Again, there are several groups who have no protocols required or requested, and others it varies. So just to make it easy on the staff, we said, let's just wear masks in all contact areas. So you will see staff in masks in contact areas. We are hoping that Christmas parties will pick up, start more inquiries late October, early November, based on some of the vaccination mandates among some companies or the federal government. Hopefully recognition of natural immunity and again, hoping that there's a significant reduction in COVID cases. We're seeing, according to some of the articles nationally, particularly in the South, huge decreases, and in the North, some moderation. So hopefully we'll see some decreases in that. So activities, I did a presentation on the district and the center, just updated to Kiwanis. Cody is a member of the Kiwanis Club, and I was invited to present. And then the Idaho Travel Council during their meeting last week, I was one of the presenters to ITC. We did site visits locally as well as to Salt Lake City, looking at facility or the building structures for the aquatic center. Very successful visits both locally and Salt Lake City, very enlightening, great products pardon me, great products that are out there. We completed the final work on acquisition of the land for the aquatics facility, and the district now owns the property. And we continue to have great customer feedback that shows the service levels continue to meet and exceed customer expectations. And again, that's based on our ability to not only maintain the staff during COVID, but we've been very successful in hiring, particularly BSU students who have been excited to join us. So, and we're excited to have them. We're still significantly down on the service side. We have about 50 servers that, currently we had 75 at the start of COVID. So still some room to grow there. Knock on wood, right now, our operations team is doing well, and we can use actually some more culinary staff, and that's being found across the marketplace. These are just some pictures of some events that we've done, Women of the Year, some others. Just showing that we can continue to serve the clients, do it very, very well, and that events are taking place pretty much daily here. We were part of the Tree Fort this year for the first time. We had Hack Fort here, again, very successful. Obviously, as everybody has seen, there were limited attendees by choice of Tree Fort, but those folks that were here and enjoyed Tree Fort overall. So it was a successful event for us. I shared some information earlier with the board, but I thought I'd just show you where some of the price increases have gone. As we talked about in preparation for the budgets, some of the impacts that are having on margins for 2022, and even currently, one currently is wages, and that will continue through 2022, the availability of staff, the challenges within the ebb and flow of markets. But one of the primary costs that are totally out of our control right now, and you see it in the news regularly, and any of us when you go to the grocery store. But so, for instance, again, this is just a quick snapshot of beef pricing that's gone up just over the course of the last several months, and as high as 91% on tenderloins, and in fact, portion cut fillets are as much as $42 a pound. So again, this is just a quick snapshot of some of the impacts that we're having on food costs alone, just on the protein side. And this is just beef. This, and then you've got the chicken and salmon there. Salmon hasn't shown quite the increase. Chicken is still pretty reasonable, but as far as beef pricing goes, it's all over the board. So,
What's that under chicken breast airline? What's that?
An airline chicken breast is when you've got the chicken breast with the little portion of the wing attached.
Oh, okay.
Things you learn, right? Highlight of some of the visitation that we've had from visitors. California had the highest, and then Idaho, Oregon, Illinois, and Washington. And we actually had visitors from Scotland. From a fiscal management standpoint, again, operationally from both the facility as well as the district has been going well. The Boise Center subsidy line, if you look down, capital transfers are under budget by $329,000. That will probably not be at $329,000, but we've controlled a number of our capital costs or capital projects. So there will be significant savings on the capital line this year, as the board asked us to at the start of this year, to control the costs, hold off until the end of the year as much as possible. And I think we've done a good job of that. We did highlight the aquatics facility estimate of $5 million. Again, it's that single line of additional capital needs. Just to reiterate, that's $2 million a year over 3 years. But as we have done the budget this year, I believe it's 1.2 or 1.3 again that we have in the budget. So again, significant savings in 2022, or certainly not as high as we anticipated. Cash to invest total without the aquatics facility and additional capital needs is $12 million. If you take a look at where the circle is, where Anne Marie put the circle in there on ADR and occupancy, the ADR hit a record. It was $141. Actually, the the new Star Report that we've just got is showing 145. So, but for the month, it was 141, a record. So even though demand is down slightly, the average rate has taken the revenue up, which again has a positive impact on room tax revenues, which were about $1 million again. So positive trends in the marketplace.
Is that district-wide or downtown?
The rate is district-wide, which means the rates downtown traditionally run higher than that.
Right, yeah.
I don't have the specifics on that because of the nature of the information, but so as a market, significant positive trends. Most of this is related to leisure market, even though we've had several conventions. With the cancellation of a couple of the conventions, this is really related primarily to leisure, which is again traditionally a higher average rate than a convention. As indicated here, again, where the oval circle is there, the oval marking, that demand and revenues exceed prior years. So again, we're looking strong on pretty much all fronts at this point. So as you look at the total number of conventions that we're looking at for 2022, the numbers look strong. 2023 is coming on. Still volatile in some cases, but as we put the budget together and commit it to the board, this is what it's looking like, and this is what we based the budget on for 2022, having a very strong, actually record year. The C-type conventions, the yellow, should have a significant growth for next year. Those are normally shorter term booking conventions. And again, traditionally we have strong demand in the year for the year. And that number will most likely go up again, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Anne Marie?
Good morning or good afternoon, Madam Chair and board members. Had to find the mute button there. We've had another good month. We continue to maintain our positive variance of about 3.5 million. The tax revenues certainly help with that. They've been significantly over budget for the last couple months, and it sounds like when Pat talks about the higher ADR, obviously depends on supply as well, but we'll certainly be above what we've budgeted probably next month as well. Next, Pat, please. Shows that our forecast for 2021 increased from 7.2 million to 7.7 million in 1 month, and that was because we were significantly over budget in room revenues. Otherwise, maintaining our SG&A costs. So the district is holding strong. Next slide. Operating revenue. Here you can see with the center, we had another great month of operating revenues with the center. The forecasted is still remaining at about 3 million, but we're making incrementally positive trends in that, where we're just slowly chipping away each month. We certainly won't fill the $1.5 million gap, but no indication that that would get any wider. Next slide, please. Again, our positive trends as events have continued to increase, up 6 from the prior month, 17 from the prior years. Event days are up 14, room nights. We're down by 16% due to lower attendance on the convention side. The conventions we had forecasted attendance, some of the attendance wasn't as high as anticipated. Some of that has to do with the virtual part, which doesn't have as high of attendance. Our day visits are up, and our utilization increased by 31% over the prior month. We continued our bonuses for hiring and retention in September. That program ended at the end of September, so we should see some of that drop back a little bit, the expenses there in the next coming months. Our gross profit, more revenue cures a lot of ills, and this is an example as well when we have the higher revenues. So our gross profit is now exceeding budget, which resulted in our EBITDA loss, $198,000 less than budget. So all those are good things. Year-to-date revenue continues to go increase. Food and beverage has really picked up the last couple months with higher attendance and more events. Our gross profit is remaining steady, and we continue to manage our SG&A expenses to manage the losses. Next, please. This slide here shows utilization by month. You can see September. The black is this year. I have added the light blue, which is what we have forecasted today for next year. You can see that we already have some good months, strong months. March, July certainly looks better than normal. September, October, and November all look strong. November looks stronger next year. With the festival trees in there, where we don't have the festival trees in 2021. Next slide, please. And that's it for the financial results. Any questions or comments? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Anne Marie. Anything else? Any questions for either Pat or Anne Marie? With that, I entertain a motion to approve the monthly activity and financial report.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Report is approved. On to other business. Anne Marie, if you wanted to take that for the budget. Or Jody, I don't know if you wanted to start that.
Go ahead, Anne Marie. You're muted.
You're muted again, Emery.
Okay, I see the budget there. Okay, thank you. All right, next slide, please. I want to first thank our finance committee, which is Chair Mucko and Director Olson. I explained last month the process we went through, so I won't go into more detail on that, but just want to express my appreciation for all of your support for the process and the organization. And I talk, support, when I talk about the support, and it may seem like sometimes maybe we thank you too much, or although I don't know that you can thank anybody too much, but your support in 2021 is so critical to our success in this budget. I participated in a conference call yesterday with some of the other conventions across the United States, and they talk about how, and you've heard it from us, but how difficult it has been for them to get their feet underneath them because they can't find the staff. They don't, they're not ready. And the word one of the people there used when they were talking about their challenges for budgeting in 2022 was, they said it's swirling, meaning you'll get something coming in, but something backs out, and it's just constantly moving, and it makes it very difficult to get supplies in. Some of them are even commenting that due to a lack of staffing, that they're looking at and a lack of food, that when somebody calls and wants to increase the amount of people at their event, when they finalize their guarantee, they can't allow them to increase the number of attendees to the event because they can't get the food to be able to serve everybody. And so, everybody's struggling trying to find people, and those are just all the things that are swirling. We have last year when we put the budget together, we all said it was the hardest budget to put together, but I think this year in its own ways has more challenges than last year. Last year we knew we didn't have the revenue coming in, and so this year now we have revenue coming in, but we don't know. You've got the unknowns about how much food can you get, how many people are attending, is it going to be partial virtual, what are the costs? Pat went over the pricing increases on the slide in the board packet, and those are continuing to be the costs that we're meeting. We're trying to, raise prices to keep up with those costs, but they're just a huge unknown for us going into this budget season. Next slide, please. So the budget we presented this year shows that we have $8.1 million in the district, $8.2 million in the center, which is would be considered a normal operating year for us. It actually record level revenues for us if everything goes without a hiccup. We've also added the aquatics in here this year, so we're looking at revenues of $16.5 million. For expenses, the district is fairly stable at $464. The center, 16.2. The aquatics, 61,000. Get my millions mixed up here. These are the interest expense. Sorry, the depreciation on the building is where the expenses are for the aquatics, if you're wondering. And so we're a total of 16.6. If you follow the far right down to the net is a negative $178,591. The majority, it would be positive, except for we have $3.1 million going to the new aquatics building. And as I said, we have now the depreciation on the aquatics, forecasted on the aquatics building as well. We do have capital expenditures of $1.6 million to support Boise Center West and East. And at the end, our cash usage will be $2.5 million, which shows an ending balance of $10.4 million after the stabilization fund. And we have budgeted no change to the stabilization fund. Next slide, please. Here's a list of just some of the major items that we have for capital expenditures coming up in the next year. We've got the HVAC AC unit replacement, which is about $300,000. I'm not going to go through all of these, but that's the biggest one. And the excavator or the escalator deep cleaning, we are in the process or just finishing up on that. So that actually may be something that will reduce our capital expenditures for next year. But overall, 1.6 million is a pretty normal capital expenditure budget for us. Next slide, please. Debt covenants. We're in our 6th full year of debt payments. Our tax receipts, our debt covenant is supposed to be 2.0 times debt service. That is measured based on the lowest of the last 3 years. 2020 was the lowest at $5.5 million in tax receipts. We actually had thought this year was going to be our lowest, but with the rebounds we've had in the last couple months, that's not going to be the case, which is good news. So our budget that we're presenting shows a debt service coverage of 3.22 times, so we're within covenants, and the bonding capacity at that amount would be $14 million. Next slide, please. The hotel tax subsidy, that is the amount that we give to the Boise Center and now to aquatics. So you can see from 2021 to 2022, it has increased from 9.3 to 10.2. The operating budget to the center has actually dropped from 4.4 to 3.7. The part that makes up the difference here is the aquatics fund. We spent 1.9 million in October when we purchased the land, and we'll have another 3.1 million this year for the building. Next slide, please. So I am requesting approval of the budget as presented, and if I could get Director Olson to please make the following motion, I would appreciate it.
Madam Chair, we've dealt with this in committee, and I move to approve the 11/30/22 district center and aquatics operating budgets as presented. Approve the renewal of the annual appropriation lease for Boise Center East. Authorize the board chair and executive director to take all steps necessary. Affect the renewal of Boise Center East annual appropriation lease. Approved to change designated committed funds as scheduled on the slide. Bottom line goes from 13,461,000 to 16,191,000, or a decrease of 2.729 million. Post aquatic center. Pre-aquatic center obviously would be 400,000 less.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, budget is approved. Thanks, guys. I did just have a question. I know that the ceiling project, and I know that we took that off years ago, and I know that we were probably going to phase that in as far as the operating or the capital budget. Not in next year. Do you plan on doing kind of piecemeal work throughout?
That's the plan at this point, Madam Chair, is do what we feel is the most urgent. Anything that has to do with life safety, and I don't want to raise a flag that we have life safety issues, we don't. But if there's anything to do with supporting structures and that sort of thing, we'll do it as we go along to the best that we can in downtimes.
Okay. All right, thanks, Anne Marie. Okay, moving on to the marketing plan. Cliff, Mary Michael, Chase, you're up.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. We're grateful for this time to, during your board meeting, to be able to present the 2022 Marketing, Communications, and Sales Plan. You have a hard copy in front of you, and of course, we can provide electronic copies or any other way you might need to receive them. For the board members that aren't in attendance here, Pam will be sending out via traditional mail or UPS or whichever one's faster, copies to your attention. So you'll have those to review. The document that you have in front of you is created in the same template that we've been using for the past few years. There's a section for marketing, a section for sales, and a section for communications and PR. Each of them have various goals and objectives and action plans. And so we'll leave this with you to read it. We're not here to read it to you, but with just as a quick overview, we want you to know that we appreciate your support for the marketing and advertising and promotion, the sales, and for our communication efforts. It really does help us and to promote Boise Center in the most effective and a manner that it can be promoted in. We want to be out there promoting ourselves and touting what we can do for some of these groups that have not been here before. So in each category, and I know Allie is not here to talk about sales, But marketing and communications, we're here to support the sales efforts. We're here to support all departments in Boise Center to help them with their programs and with their publications or with their projects. And so we do tackle a variety of things through the year. In fact, in our last work session, we mentioned the video projects that are coming up this fall and in the first quarter of 22. Those kind of the budgets that you've approved allow us to do those kind of things and make improvements and make those changes that we need to have to keep current and keep modern. So we definitely appreciate the financial support of the programs and initiatives that we have. We're also working with a new agency, as you know, as Allie and Carrie talked about in the work session. The Orange 142 group has been very influential. And so they came out to Boise for the very first time, and we included some of their comments and some of their remarks in our SWOT analysis. They came into the market not knowing much, and it was really interesting to see what they perceived as the strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats of this particular of our market. We'll continue working with Orange 142, and in the document in the marketing section, you'll see samples of the creative that we've just rolled out. Like I say, and it's going to morph and change. This 22 is going to be a year of change for us. With Drake Cooper, we're going to be refreshing the website with videos, but we're also going to be refreshing our creative just to make sure that we're standing out and not just seen that, been there, done that. So Drake Cooper and Warren Lassen will continue on as our official agencies with our RFP process. So we're excited to have them involved. And like I say, it's just, this is our roadmap. This is our guide for the year. There's a lot of goals that are stated. There's a lot of objectives and projects that we've identified. But as we've noted in this past year, we've planned it so that we can pivot. If something changes, if something derails us a slight bit, we're not going to be that flustered. We're going to just pivot and know how to make those changes. We've already even talked about refreshing and bringing back our open campaign that we ran here locally, just to reinforce the fact that we're open, that we're ready for your business, and we can do it well. So we appreciate the support from the center leadership and from the board to be able to make all these initiatives take place. So once you do have a chance to read the entire document or have questions, please reach out to any one of us, Mary Michael, Allie, or myself. We'll be happy to go through those with you if you have questions, and or just have further dialogue on some of those things that you might have questions about. So I turn the time over to Mary Michael. She's celebrating her birthday with us today. So
I rolled back a year.
That's what happens, right?
She gets a birthday cookie
Yes.
for helping us out. So I'll let her just review a few things from the communications plan.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Our strategic communications and PR plan supports the organization's sales and marketing goals. We utilize communications and public relations efforts to build awareness within target markets with the goal to reinforce the venue's positive reputation, increase website traffic, and also business leads. We'll continue to promote and position Boise Center as a premier location for meetings, conventions, and conferences, both locally, regionally, and nationally. We had very good success last year with our local campaigns that launched in February, once the public health initiatives, public health mandates improved to a point that meetings and gatherings could increase to 50 people. We're seeing now in this fall going into the first quarter of fiscal year 2022, it's hard to believe it's just about upon us, that we'll also be bringing back a local campaign to kind of hit the ground running in the beginning of January to remind people that Boise Center is open, welcoming events. We're seeing regional events happening now, but a pullback actually right now on more local things, people not traveling as much, still working from home. We'll continue to collaborate very closely with our partners at the Convention and Visitors Bureau and Orange 142 to communicate key messages. They're really trying to promote Boise's brand as urban, modern, walkable, compact, and change a little bit of the perception that it's hard to get to this destination. So we'll continue to work closely with them on email campaigns, digital campaigns. We're going to utilize paid digital media campaigns for Boise Center. It's in the top 3 of website traffic generators for us, and also lead generation as our paid digital media campaigns. We'll utilize Boise Center social media marketing efforts to promote our catering, audiovisual technology services, and to strengthen our image as the place to go to for meetings and events. Because now we've moved away from having simply a virtual event studio to being able to have meaning one room as a virtual event studio, to where we become much more nimble and adaptable at taking any meeting, convention, or special event and being able to do it virtually from within the meeting room that's happening on site. Don't know if I said that exactly correctly. You know when something in your head is coming out? So instead of having to do it physically within the studio, we can take that equipment now quickly and efficiently and set it up within any meeting room inside the center, which really changes things for us to be able to do bigger and better. And we're promoting that quite often. We'll continue to seek editorial and promotional opportunities with meetings, industry publications that highlight Boise Center. And we'll participate in awards and recognition programs such as the Smart Meeting Smart Stars Award. We were nominated this fall for a Platinum Choice Award from Smart Meetings, and we'll find out in December if we were awarded that. That has an independent jury. So we completed our application and submitted client testimonials with that. We've been recognized as Best Conference Center. There's 5 nominated each year. We've been in the top for 3 years consistently. We've been in that top category. I just wanted to thank the board again, because you, when you approved the budget and approved funds for us to make some enhancement improvements to Boise Center's website. And we're doing that based on first party data and based on users' journey through that site. We know which are the top entry pages, and we know which are the top exit pages. We're going to make some changes to the floor plan page and some other things to really capture and engage users more so than we are right now. And I'm happy to answer any questions, but wanted to respect your time. Those are the highlights for fiscal year 2022 to help the organization have another move forward, have another successful year.
Well, that's good with the website
Yes.
improvements, because everybody's still kind of virtual. So being able
Yes.
to get a feel for the space without having to be on site to do a site inspection, I think is really important.
Right, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Any questions, comments? So beyond looking at it more quarterly, are there any large changes from the previous years kind of to the marketing sales plan?
No, just we have added a couple of publications that went away for a bit, but now they're back. So the advertising is a little bit shifted because we do have them added back into the media plan.
I think the only change would be we'll continue to focus, and we talked about this last month, quite a bit in the Northwest with our digital media, because that's where we're having good success, but also support and continue to be in some of the key direct markets, direct flight cities, Atlanta, Houston, Denver, Chicago, where we saw good results, not quite as,
Not much DC.
no, it's a tough sell. And I know Carrie, the Convention and Visitor Bureau, they've added a position for sales and support. I think we'll see results, but it's going to be a little bit with the variants and things happening. Persuade that long distance travel is still.
Yeah.
But only thing we know to be certain is that uncertainty, and we'll just continue taking the feedback from meeting planners and the surveys that are done about every 6 weeks by North Star Media Group have been very, very, very good. So, yes,
Okay,
to
good.
help guide us and show what confidence levels, what current concerns are, and so forth. And that helps us guide what's happening. And then the feedback from Ally and her team when they're out at marketplaces and trade shows are coming back to us and telling us what they're seeing, what's selling, messaging, what concerns people are asking about. I can't remember if it was, it was in a meeting with Pat last week, and Ally and Cliff. If you looked at the live res, they had their partner conference, and it was this week, about 250 people from all over the country. They had taken verbatim from our clean and safe plan verbiage on Boise Center's website and put it onto their website to reassure clients about safety, cleaning, disinfection measures at the center. And it's interesting because it helps you realize that the efforts you are doing as a facility and the GBAC and the Clean and Safe, it is making a difference, and it is hopefully helping that convention or at least person that's leasing our building, then message it to their attendees. And that's a win for all of us.
And I think too, when the meeting planners tell our sales managers, I've been hearing a lot about Boise lately. That's because of the ads, that's because of social media, that's because of stories that that the CVB is helping to, talk about the city and about the recreational opportunities. They're out there. We're all working different angles to make sure that they are definitely hearing a lot about Boise. So that's what's exciting is we're keeping on. We've got good goals, and we'll keep Boise top of mind and Boise Center the place to be.
I think the key is being flexible and nimble, right, for the
Yes.
next year. Chase, on the marketing committee, do you have any comments?
Nope, I don't have any.
Okay.
I think they've done a good job.
Do we need to approve?
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
is there any change to the Visitors Bureau contract?
The Visitors Bureau contract is in the budget to increase 10%, which is approximately $70,000.
Thank you.
That contract, by the way, we'll be working on that contract with Carrie. Now, actually, Ally and Carrie have been going through it. We should have that probably early November. We try to get that done as early as we can before the start of, they operate on a calendar year, even though we're a fiscal year. But we still try to get that done by the end of our fiscal year.
Okay, thanks, guys. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the marketing plan, sales marketing PR plan for 2022.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, marketing plan is approved. Idaho Competitive Aquatics, Nick and Pat.
Madam Chair, board members, thanks for having us again. Not too many updates from us. As Mr. Rice said, we took a site visits to some structures here in Boise and Eagle, Caldwell, local, as well as down to Salt Lake City. All very, very nice structures, and we'll continue to discuss and see where we go as far as the decision on structures and where we land on that. No decision has been made yet. And we'll continue to keep the board updated as we finalize those.
And you're working through the proposal process and the structures and all that stuff at this time.
Well, the actual CM contract, and that was awarded already, the construction management contract went through the RFP process, and that was awarded. And so that's what we're doing now, is evaluating the bids, final costs,
Okay.
pros and cons of the structures. That's what we're going through right now.
Ryan and I were on a USA Swimming call 3 weeks ago. We bid for age group Western Zone Championship swim meet for August 2nd through the 5th of 2023. Boise was awarded the meet. So 748 swimmers in 2019, which was the last time this was a full swim meet. Only 24 from the Boise area participated in that meet. It is usually a 4-day meet. Teams from Hawaii and Alaska will show up on Monday, 2 days before, just to adjust and be in. Everybody else here by Tuesday. So 5 to 6 hotel room nights, or nights of hotel rooms for all those people. They are all 14 and under kids as well, which means that they have to have additional parents and chaperones to stay with them. So right now we have a very busy 3 weeks of late July, early August 2023, but everybody wants to be here. Everybody is excited to come to Boise. It seems like everybody is willing to give it a shot and come out. And so we are excited. We are confident that we are going to put on some good swim meets, and these meets are going to continue to come to us.
That's great. Congrats.
Thank
Two meets before we even put a shovel in the ground. Fantastic.
That's really all of our solid updates. If anybody has any questions.
Madam Chair, Nick,
Yes, sir.
how about fundraising?
We are significantly closer to closing the gap than we were 8 weeks ago, the last time I was at a meeting, and we are confident and remain comfortable moving forward without any delays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's for the upgraded pool product, correct?
Yes, ma'am, for the Murtha Pool product.
Great. Any updates on it from your end, Mike? Everything's done and closed and
Everything's, done and closed, Madam Chair, and really everything's being done, consistent with the lease agreement that the board approved. And for example, in terms of the one requisite we had for the purchase of the land was to demonstrate they had, I think it was $2 million in the bank. And so we got that done for that contract. And as Pat mentioned, in terms of the construction contract, the global general contractor award has been made, and it's just working through all the details. And again, all that is kind of laid out in the agreement that we have with them. So everything's proceeding thankfully according to, I don't know if schedule's the right word, but according to the process we've laid out.
and so timeline moving forward as far as construction is dependent upon structure.
It does, because both structures, there's a difference in production time and as far as acquiring product. The pure steel structures take longer than the aluminum structures. And so, and then there's the actual construction of the pool itself. And now, I mean, that's more on Nick's side for sure. But I think generally speaking, the goal is by summer of 2022, that can be July or August. Again, just based on construction times, and like anything else, it could be sooner, but we've been through projects before here and rather be push it out a little bit. And again, that's really more on the competitive ICA. They're leading that charge, and I don't want to speak for them, but in our conversations with the contractors and with the building manufacturers, they can actually get it done as early as 6 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks in production, but they're both really busy. So it's fitting into that timeline, even though it can be in essence ready to go in 4 to 6 weeks. It's just how soon can we get on that list to get the actual construction of the facility here done here.
Are there any supply chain issues with any of the major products? That seems to be.
With potentially with the steel, but not with the aluminum. And as far as I don't want to call it fabric because it's a composite
It's
structure.
much better.
Yeah.
On our visit, we did say that, never run by one of those buildings again and say, oh, that's a tent. It's a lot different.
Yeah. So, but the material that they used for the covers is readily available, and it's just a matter of manufacturing enough. It's 315 feet long by 120 feet wide. So basically a football field.
That's a lot.
And I guess, Madam Chair, I should have pointed out that pursuant to the lease agreement, so rent payments have now started after the district expended its funds to purchase the property, and then the rent will ramp up, once we've expended the money for construction, and that's what Amory has built into the budget for fiscal 22, I guess. If I can count my years correctly, and she's built that in based on the estimated timeline for construction. And obviously that, I mean, I don't want to say it's the tail wagging the dog, but obviously the real benefit is once is all the economic benefit that's going to happen once all the meets happen, and which, obviously greatly overshadows the amount of rent that we're getting.
Great. Any other updates? Questions? Chase, any questions, comments?
Nope, just hoping that construction goes smooth.
I think everybody does. Okay.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, thank you. Well, seeing no other business before the board, we are adjourned.
Could be a record.